Today on the Intimacy Inquiry, I'm joined by a guest who's redefined what it means to blend artistry, entrepreneurship, and personal empowerment in the adult industry. Anastasia Pierce isn't your typical business coach. She's the hidden force behind some of the top earning creators on loyal funds, helping adult performers build serious, scalable brands. With a background in accounting and years of experience both in front of and behind the camera, Anastasia brings a rare dual perspective. She knows the creative, the vulnerable side of performing, and the strategic, analytical mindset needed to run a thriving business. We'll talk about what it means to treat adult content creation like a company, how she's empowering performers thinking like CEOs, and what she's learned about success, authenticity, and power in a digital age built on intimacy. Wow, you've done a lot. Let's get. Thank you so much for joining us from Las Vegas today. It's incredibly kind of you.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
well, thank you. There's a lot. There's a lot I want to know because you're very unique, I think, from people I've talked to so far. So I'm fascinated by your what
Oh, thank
where
you.
where you got to, what you've done. So if it's okay, I wanted to take you back a little bit, just to your formative years. What was life like growing up? Would the 14-year-old you recognize the person you've evolved into?
So I used to be very shy, and
Mhm.
I grew up in a very small city, far away from anything media related. Uh, I think the dream of being part of the entertainment community, being a performer, being somewhere creative has always been part of me, and
Mhm.
maybe because I didn't get it early on in my life. I got more motivation on later when it was reachable, when it was closer to me. So I always knew I was probably going to move to a big city. And
Mhm.
when I had the opportunity after I graduated from my bachelor, I found an internship in America from a Swiss firm. And for 6 months, they welcomed me, and I worked in offices doing all kinds of wonderful things for other people. And then I realized that I really liked my freedom in the USA and find a way to stay there, applied for visas, etc. And little by little, um, I realized that the corporate world was not enough for me and started exploring. That was the beginning of online, but I was very much into coffee table books and looking at photographer in close by area and contacting them. And I got lucky enough to start shooting photos, black and white photos, with some great photographer, and they gave me a taste of what it'd be like to be in front of the camera.
Mm. So where are you from originally?
From Switzerland. I'm from
Oh, wow,
Switzerland, from
okay.
the French area, at the
Yeah.
border of France. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were on holiday there last year, just yeah, on the border of Switzerland and France. Just what's the lake called? Anyway, it's a big lake there. But yeah, we drove into Switzerland for a few days. It is stunning, stunningly beautiful. It is. It's quite
It's like
different
a
than Las
postcard.
Vegas, I would say. I think
Very much so. Very
people from
much
the small
so.
villages in Switzerland or the beautiful Alps and the stunning mountains and lakes and things. It's yeah,
No, it's
very
lovely.
different. Las Vegas is beautiful, but it's just a very different beauty, I guess.
Well, anybody who grew up where it's very green knows that the reason it's very green is because it rains all the time.
There is that, yes. Yeah.
So when I first moved in the US, in California, I was in San Diego, and I loved. For me, it was like summertime every day, so that was quite special.
Yeah.
I really loved the way the sun and having a bright day most day of the year made me feel like after living so long in the snow. So I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed, and then after San Diego, moved to Los Angeles for 20 years, and then now to Vegas for 5.5.
Hmm.
And it's just a progression. Life is
Yeah,
full of chapters. You have to
it is.
just
It
go with
is.
the flow. Yeah.
So we were always very comfortable with your body, your sexuality before you got in front of the camera.
So in Europe, definitely, um, in everyday life, you see a lot more nudity.
Yeah.
Whether it's for art,
Hmm.
movies, commercials, print
Teachers.
material.
Yeah.
It's just not as taboo to see someone nude.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I was always made to feel comfortable in my own body as is. So that was never a problem. And I myself am very attractive to beautiful nude women. I just think there's nothing more beautiful in the world. And so I guess I wanted to be one of them. But confidence comes with time, with experience. And it's a hard one. It's a hard one to keep up because
Mm.
life is challenging, but it's more of a mentality than anything else. You can be comfortable in any size and shape.
Absolutely. And did you find that so from working with some photographers, sort of working in stills and some sort of black and white and very glamorous boudoir type photography, is it then a conscious decision to do more? If that makes sense, or does it a natural evolution into the sort of content you created towards the latter years?
So I started with photography because that was what really attracted me. I've always liked the imagery of fetish,
Hmm.
strong woman, very dressed up in
Yeah.
boots and leather and gloves and whips. So I've always liked that. But through that, I met other people who were already in a business, and that was the beginning of cam shows.
Okay.
And I participated to it was new, it was fun. Why not? So I participated to some cam shows and then realized that it could be very lucrative. So I actually abandoned my corporate job to do camming full time, thinking, I give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, I'll go get another corporate job. But meanwhile, let's have a good time and see where this goes. And while doing live, it was also safe. It was in my own environment,
Yeah.
within my own limits, which I think is very important for new creators to find that balance of what works for themselves. And for me, it gave me the boost to go out there when offer came in to participate to movies. Um, and it was intimidating, but then it was thrilling to be amongst other people and actually have a cameraman and have a photographer and have a makeup artist. At that time, production had catering, they had trailers. It was wonderful. Yes. So a progression of feeling comfortable within the business, wanting to explore more, meeting the right people along the way,
And
knowing when to step back too.
yeah, and it does sort of feel that that was a sort of point where women in particular had more control over what they decided to do. Because if you're doing a cam, or if you're talking to somebody one on one or whatever, you can close the laptop and
Absolutely.
it's gone then, isn't it? Whereas I guess before that, I mean, it still is. I know it still is a very male dominated industry, and there's still lots of challenges with lots of the porn clip sites in particular. But I think for it probably felt like the first time where women could decide, hey, I'm gonna drop the kids off at school. I'm gonna come home. I'm going to do 4 hours of camming. I'm going to be a fetish cam. I'm going to be a femdom. I'm going to be a dominant, whatever. And yeah, then I can close the laptop, pick the kids up from school again, and yeah, that's my
Absolutely.
money. And
You know, it's a nice option. People can do that part time just for
hmm,
the kink of it because they just want to explore their own sexuality and desire in a safe environment, or because yeah, why not make a little extra money on the side? And you can block anybody you don't want to. It's become even better. I mean, at the time there was not as much options. It was the beginning, so you couldn't have multiple people in private
yeah.
shows. I remember getting a phone line for it, and I had a beautiful headset for it. But it was, it was like, you had all these options, and now they already are available for anybody who
Yeah.
gets started. It was expensive to get things set up at the time, but now, like,
Mhm.
with very little money, you can start camming right away. So I think that's a great way to dip your toes in a business,
Hmm.
again, because you are fully in charge. You can block anybody who makes you feel uncomfortable. You show as much or as little as you want. It is voyeuristic. You are in your own environment at home, for most people, so you're comfortable. You show the angle you want to show, which is important for many women. So yeah, I think that's a very easy, simple, positive way to start.
Yeah, and it's interesting when I've talked to three or four sort of women operators, dominatrix in different ways and things, and it's really interesting when I sort of talk to them about this. Sort of say, look, there are things that clients will talk to me about, and not always the things you might imagine, but would talk to me about and say and want to be submissive for a 10-minute call or a 15-minute private show or whatever, that they just feel that they could never say to their partners, and the two can coexist quite comfortably together. It's a
Absolutely.
very it's a very interesting moral discussion, I guess, isn't it? If I'm spending money on a if I'm spending money with you and I want to be submissive to you, and I'm talking to you and I'm spending money with you, is that cheating? Is that taking something from somebody else that I can't get from my partner? Because I think isn't it quite philosophical now? I think in our society we've sort of been guided towards this vision that a happy life involves a monogamous relationship with somebody that you get everything you could want from, which in practical terms doesn't make any sense because I might be with a partner, but actually I love playing golf. My wife doesn't play golf, so I go and play golf with my friends. I love going to watch French noir films in the cinema, and my wife doesn't, so I go with somebody else. Or I drink, my wife doesn't drink, or whatever. So,
Absolutely.
you're going to get things from other people that, and I'm not trying to
No,
defend or
no.
rationalize somebody doing it, but it sort of makes sense, doesn't it?
So for me, one of the appeal was the intimacy, getting
Yeah.
to know what people are into behind closed doors. And it's
Hmm.
true, like a lot of people would share things online with me, who was a confident stranger,
Hmm.
but to where they could tell me things that they were into that they would not tell their partner.
Yeah.
And that was fascinating for me to find out, as somebody young, just inexperienced, honestly, uh, what the world was about, what men were about, what turned on people, what uh, just the array of fantasy and imagination, and I found it fascinating, and it was very special to get to know a handful of people very well who became my everyday visitor client online. And I always encourage new creators to be consistent, because you do create that audience, and it's
Yeah.
not just fans viewing you viewing a show. It's that they become your friends online. They call you to tell you about their day. They tell you about how much further they went into their kink. Like,
Yeah.
it's something really special for both sides, and I think it's very healthy. I don't think it has anything to do with cheating, especially, I mean, you're not even touching each other.
Well, often you're in different countries, for goodness sake. You're in different sides of the world, and it's
Absolutely.
almost like it's similar in many ways to having good therapy. I think
Absolutely.
because
It's,
I do think
yeah,
there are things that I might have had in my head as what I think is an extremely unusual kink for 10, 20, 30 years, and then eventually I tell somebody, "Oh, okay, what?" And you have this, you build it up in your head that you're the only person on this planet of 8 billion people that has this particular kink. And somewhere out there, somebody else has a similar kink to you. And as long as you're not hurting somebody or breaking laws or
exactly.
something against the morals, then it's Yeah, I don't know I don't know whether the words kink is a good word or not really.
For
But I think
me,
there are
it is
experiences
because
that people
just
have.
it summarizes everything. But consent
Yeah,
is huge. You know, consent has to be there always.
yeah,
Both people have to want to participate, whether
yeah,
it's just in the conversation, in this online relationship, or
mhm,
on film, or etc.
yeah,
That's number one for me. It's to know that both partners, both sides are willing. But I think it's so healthy and it's so pleasurable in so
mm.
many ways, not just physically but mentally, emotionally. Like it's really brings you a lot more than anybody can think of. But
I
it's
think
not
so.
for everyone either, you
Yeah,
know.
and I think as a man, there is still this expectation that society has that the man is the dominant person, is the and sometimes after you've been at work all day, been in meetings all day, you've led a team of hundreds of people, whatever. You you're just nice to submit to somebody or to give yourself over to somebody. And I think that's something that people feel held back by. So knowing there's a place where they can go and not be judged and they can, yeah, just be
Absolutely.
themselves for an hour, half an hour is, yeah, I think it is a boost really to somebody, to their
It was
confidence to,
great, and
yeah.
I did camming for my first 5 years,
Hmm.
almost full time. On the side, I was shooting stuff, and I have to say that really educated me for everything else I did further, because when I did take on uh, different kink, different fetishes, different niches, I understood already the subject. And I think educating
Yeah.
yourself is really important. If you're going to be doing something, first of all, do things you are into. If it's something that really turns you off, don't do it. Like I
Yeah.
have shot with um, women who hated foot fetish, but took on foot fetish shoots.
Hmm.
And they would cringe the minute somebody would touch their toes or kiss them a little more. But
God.
it's like, why are you doing this? Like for
Yeah.
other people, it's a dream. Like
Hmm.
just go with what you enjoy. It's gonna come across a lot better. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
You're going to be better at it too. You're probably gonna sell more of it
I
because
mean,
it's
it's
more
what you
fun
said
with.
before, but I do think it's important. It's an important point that having, yeah, consistency and that your audience believe you are being genuine is really important. So
Yeah.
it's not difficult to tell when somebody isn't being truly genuine. And like I said, there are enough people out there that want to do something, and that person might want to do something else. So it is better to find your lane, find your niche, find your speciality, and own that space rather than
You
trying
have
to do
to try
everything.
new things too, though.
I-
You
yeah,
and that I
absolutely.
think that's good too, to try new things to see if you're into it.
Hmm.
But if you realize quickly that's not your cup of tea, like just go back to what you do enjoy, because there's enough of it. There's really honestly so many different types of creators out there that there's something for everybody on both
Yeah.
sides.
So it's not necessarily a natural or obvious step to go from being in front of the camera, sharing yourself, having those dynamic relationships, to almost creating this whole new space of business support, coach, strategist, whatever. How did that? Because obviously you had the accountancy background, you had the business background, but how did that come about? You think, well, okay, well, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm enjoying it, but actually, there's an
Well,
audience
that
out there
came
of people that,
way later on. So after the camming, started shooting for different companies. Then I paid attention, and I was like thinking, I could do that too. And so I started producing on my own. And I don't know, just it's fun to grow. It's fun to progress and
mhm,
figured out ways to distribute DVDs, produce DVDs. And I did that for many years. Then I started producing for other companies where as a director. And along the way, I realized that I had grown knowledge and experience that other people didn't. Because to
yeah,
be honest, a lot of people come and go in this business. For a lot of
yeah,
people,
yeah,
just a short journey.
mhm,
And, no matter how short it is, it's great if they have a good experience.
Mm.
And for other people like me, this is like a lifetime, like a career.
Mhm.
And I believe in treating other like you want to be treated. So always took care of whoever I came across. If I saw they were shy, I would, give some advice, guidance. And that at some point became what I started doing online. It really just came naturally, just like the rest of it. And I don't think somebody new could do this because there's just a lot to it. I think anybody new can be successful at it and find their own path, but it takes a while, to find the discipline and understand the mentality that is behind being exposed online and the things that come with it too. You have to protect yourself, whether it is your privacy, your safety, your relationship, your time, your well-being, your health, etc., etc. It really is something you learn by with experience by doing it.
Mm. And when you work with people, what's the first almost mindset shift you've got to instill on someone? Because I guess that they're thinking of themselves as quite rightly a creator, a content creator,
Mhm.
but actually they're CEO of their own business. Really, they are. How do you get them to sort of almost move a little bit from right? Yes, the creation's wonderful, but you've got to think of it as a business.
So a lot of people are business people,
Mhm.
and the ones who do well treat this as a business for sure. Again, you can make good money on the side just for fun, of course, and that's great. But if you want to do this for real, and you set your mind to it, like have a plan, like any businesses, do the marketing you need to do, create the content you need to create, spend the time. You'll find out that it works out. You don't have to be the most beautiful, most talented. It really is more about applying yourself into the craft of it,
Mm.
and again, learning it. Learning it is very important, um, and the consistency. But the successful people are business people. They some of them have huge teams now, you know,
Yeah.
and I am somebody who really loved to do everything herself, which has been one of my drawback because I like to shoot, edit, retouch, market. It's fine. It's hard to find people who can help you along the way, but then you
Yeah.
realize if I have people helping me along the way, I have more time to do things there and there. So it's a progression, and
Mm.
uh, sometimes creators also team up for these kind of things to when
Yeah.
one is better at something and one is better at the other. So
Mhm.
again, like it's everybody's journey is different. For some people, it's gonna be just once a week. For some people, it's gonna be every day, all day long. So I can't say it's the same for everyone.
No. One other thing, when I have talked to people in the industry before, that they've talked about people they know or themselves, that there is sometimes an issue with burnout or with boundary issues, and I wonder how do you advise people on
I
almost a sort of
enjoy that.
look how
Yeah,
almost protecting their energy? Does that make sense? And not what they
yeah.
should do. If you want to camp for 10 hours a day, that's fine. I'm not saying that's wrong, but or want to camp for 2 hours a day, but the 2 hours a day person might get burnt out more than a 10 hours a day person. How do you almost protect their energy and their
So
boundaries?
this is really two different questions for me.
Hmm.
Like, first of all, the relationships. A lot of people, there's a lot of pretty women in this business, and they have boyfriends, and the boyfriends love the fact that they're very pretty and successful and popular online. And then they realize that they can't handle it. And then they become
Yeah.
jealous and they want them to stop talking to all these gentlemen or people online they don't know, but they forget that that's their living. They do this for a living. So my advice is for anybody who is getting into a relationship with a creator is to respect and understand that is what they do for a living, to talk about it a lot with your partner, to also talk about what you're comfortable and not comfortable with them doing. Because, again, this business offers a huge array of choices,
Hmm.
and you can find things that work for both. Like for some people, doing in person scenes is not comfortable, but being online is fine, things
Yeah.
like that. So I think communication is huge. Also understanding that that is a business. That's what they make a living doing. So, if you were fine at the beginning, there's no reason now not to be.
Mm.
And then as far as the burnout, that is really hard because it becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And since most people do it at home, it's really hard to get away from it, and it's always available. You can jump at 2 o'clock in the morning and do a live show, 7 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning, do a live show. Um, I always advise people to have a workspace separate from their bedroom, like a little desk somewhere else, so
Hmm.
that when you sit at it, you are at work. When you get up from it, you are no longer at work. So, and I'm lucky enough, to have my own office with my door closed. And my husband knows if my door is closed, you don't interrupt me. I am working even though I'm home. I don't let my cats, my pets, in my room when I'm working. I put my phone in my drawer because if I'm working, I want to focus on what I'm doing. Also, because you'll get more done in a shorter amount of time, so then you can take breaks and play on social media, go
Hmm.
out working out, meet people for lunch or whatever you want to do. You really have to set boundaries with your time and your emotion.
Mm. I found that when I've talked to people that most people on the different sites, they all seem to talk about loyal fans as being more creator centered platform. I just wonder what you think it is that sets loyal fans apart. You've obviously loyal fans branded, your loyal fans logo,
Uh-huh,
your loyal
uh-huh.
fans, your bleed loyal fans. What is it that makes it different than the other platforms?
So, I think the number one is that they offer everything. So,
Okay.
for a creator, they can do shows, video clips, audio clips, phone calls, one-on-one videos, shows. They can do DMs. They can just post things. I think having everything in one place is
Hmm.
huge, because one of the hardest part is to bring your fan to come and see you. So if you can funnel all your fan in one place,
Yeah.
that's amazing, because then you don't have to update 1,000 platforms, and that's really time consuming. It's hard, and then you're sending people in different direction for different products. But if you are like me, who likes to do a little bit of everything, then you put it all in one place, and then it's easy. And then if you are busy doing something else, they can still buy your video clip. They can still see
Mm.
other things you have posted. If you are feeling like doing a live show, you can do it. If somebody you click and you want to start doing one-on-ones, you can do that as well. So you have all these options. So I really like that. And then I have met the people who are behind loyal fans um 21 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So that tells you that they're good people, because they're still around. And I'm still
It
loving
does.
them,
It does.
and that says a lot too, that
Mm.
so they know creators, they know the business, they've been around, they've seen it evolve. The platform is always changing for the better, like there's always new things coming out, and they're really helping other creators succeed. Like there is internal traffic which other platforms don't have. So if you are actively using it, you're going to be listed in this discoverability page that shows your profile, and then new fans can find you.
Mhm.
And then there's classes several times a week. We do walkthroughs as a group so that people can come and discover all the options, all the tools, all the features. And then we do one on ones, which are free, where we just talk to one person at a time and see what they have in mind and if they need some guidance. And then we do other classes, interviews. So there's just so much education, so much help. It's all free. It's all included. It makes me feel good to be part of it. Really.
Mm. And I guess over the last 21 years, I guess the data analytics, you're able to see what works, what doesn't work, etc., much better than before. I guess as somebody that somebody might go onto a platform and look at the platform and watch somebody on a cam show or whatever, you're not really thinking in your head, well, they can get all the data behind, best time of day, length of clip, behavior, pricing models, etc. So is the data analytics quite strong as well?
It is, the search is huge, is easy. Um, I used to have my own website that I would have to pay for server space. I would have to
Yeah.
pay for billing. I would have to pay for security. I would get hacked once in a while. It was a nightmare. It's
Mm.
being in the business of online is very difficult. People don't see the behind the scene. So
Mhm.
having a platform that offers you everything at your fingertip is huge and easy and so wonderful that you don't have to worry about that kind of things. And then it's very stable, it works wonderful. It's never down. It's always there. There are always people online that bring in traffic. So having the technical aspect taken care of for you is great. Then having the guidance is big too, because I have spent so much money before, finding my way through this business. And now you get help. How amazing. And then before, people didn't consider this in business. And now we, finally are uh, uh, accepting and approving that this is a real business for real business women, business creators. There's a lot of men too, and it gives you autonomy. It gives you the possibility to do it from anywhere in the world, at any time in the world. I mean, it's a really great sense of freedom. It's a great sense. It's very powerful. It's very empowering.
I guess it's one of the big changes, almost maybe in the last 5 years, is that the landscape and acceptance of this is almost as a career choice has become more mainstream. I'm sure there's still many people out there that think, oh my gosh, that's not a real job or whatever. But it does feel. I mean, we see it's discussed more in mainstream media, mainstream television, film, etc. So nobody can pretend not to have heard of these different platforms, etc. It does feel like it's become more acceptable, but I guess with
Absolutely.
acceptability brings more people into the industry. It becomes more competitive. Is it? Do you think it's harder to make a living now than it was 10 years ago, or just different?
Yes and no, because
Mhm.
there are more fans aware of it. So I
True.
think
The
the
audience is
audience
bigger.
is
Yeah.
much bigger. I
Yeah.
think it's like you say, it's less taboo for people to be part of it or participate. So I think that's a huge difference. And I think it's healthy, for creators to be able to give it a shot without that sense of oh my gosh, what is this person doing? I think that's wonderful. There's more competition, so I think it takes longer maybe to get noticed, but if you do the job, if you are consistent, there is more potential online, because there's a lot more money than there ever was for one person. um there was no possibility before for one creator to make this kind of money on their own term, with no staff, no equipment, no overhead. It just wasn't possible without having to
Yeah.
travel either, and being completely safe. So I think it's better. I think it's definitely better.
When you were spending more time performing and creating content, did you generally feel empowered by what you were doing?
I loved it, and I created often content. I'd say 50% of the time I created content I wanted to create, not worrying if it was going to sell or not. And then the other 50%, I created content that were custom content that my
Hmm.
fans wanted to see, asking for, paying for. So that I felt that was a good balance of putting my own spin on thing, my own yeah, my own branding on it, and then at the same time catering to people who were my fans, so that I knew it was gonna sell no matter what. Um, some people just do custom, just cater
Yeah.
to fans and what they want, and I
Hmm.
feel like they get lost in what other people want and forget to create their own brand, and that's important too for people to get to know the real you. It's not always about money. It really is about the experience and having a good time doing it. Because if you're making money and you hate it, you're not gonna
Yeah.
stick. You're not gonna stick around. You're gonna find something else. You're gonna burn out. You're not gonna want to do more of it. But if you're loving it and you're having a great time and you're learning to evolve with it, because that's a big subject too. Like, I'm not 20 anymore, and I've been in business a long time, and I meet people, of all age and sizes that have to find their place. And that can be difficult for some people because they don't feel like they fit the mold, but that's beautiful. That's wonderful because there are really a place for everyone. There is a place for everyone.
100%. And some of the big porn aggregators publish reports each year, etc. They talk about the search categories and things, and so many tend to be MILF or stepmom, or they're not typically the blonde 18-year-old girl,
No.
because that's, for example, that's such a regular fantasy. People are looking for something different, I think, and I do think they're looking for something that feels a bit more real in a way. Even though most films, the MILF next door, etc., and there's a stepmom, they're not real. We know they're not real, but you just feel that it's almost that fantasy that, oh my gosh, there's a lady next door or whatever. I think people like that fantasy. So what were the things that you enjoyed doing the most? What sort of scenes or what elements did you enjoy if you had the choice to make them?
I don't have a specific one because each chapter of my life has been different.
Hmm.
I did a lot of submissive work, bondage, early on, and I was good at it. I didn't know I would be, and that kind of just tried it and realized that I was pretty tough at it. So I enjoyed. I challenged myself so much. We did so many beautiful, creative scenes. Um, that were very hard, and I loved all of it. And then I did a lot of high gloss lesbian porn, and I loved the visual of it, the closing, having beautifully lit scenes, being
Hmm.
hypersexual. I loved it because it was very fantasy like, very glamorous. And then I liked also the domination and being in charge, being more experienced than another person. So it really, there's no one thing in particular. And now I enjoy not taking off my clothes and using my brain more and still, getting the satisfaction emotionally and even physically for doing this differently. It's and there's a lot of performers who do not take off their clothes, who do not show their faces. So there's it's not just one formula that works. There's again different audiences, different genre that people are looking for, different types of sexuality. Before it was boy girl, that was it, and then just girl girl, and now there's so much more. And it's all mixed up, and I love it too. I love that there people can experience sexually differently too, with different types of partner.
Mm.
So I think it's just because it got more accepted, it really opened up all of this to the audiences, and audiences realize, okay, what I'm into is not that, it's not that taboo. There's more people into it, and I can find people who can satisfy me with that type of content. It's wonderful, and they're more apt at going towards it because it's
Mm.
available.
Yeah. And I think you see things that you might not have tried before and realize just, yeah, maybe you want to try them, or just how beautiful. I mean, I love shibari, so rope tying and beautiful. And
Mhm.
if you haven't seen it before, and you can see somebody tied up in a beautiful red rope, and then when the rope's undone, the marks it leaves on somebody's body, and it's almost it's not about sex really, in a way.
No,
It's
no,
very artistic, and people say artistic, but it really is. It's very aesthetic. It's incredible,
absolutely.
almost poetry to it in a way. So I think again,
Oh,
if you didn't
it's
never
hard to
heard of it, never
do.
seen it, it's yeah. And in the same way, if you see somebody dressed in incredibly high gloss latex, etc., or some incredibly
Yeah.
shiny leather and stuff, it is very artistic. And yes,
Yeah,
of
the
course there are
art and
lots of
creativity
things in
is
sex that aren't
everywhere.
artistic, but it is very.
It's beautiful in
Well,
so
I mean,
many ways.
the human body is something that should be celebrated, really. And exactly as you say, within Europe, there's less of a hang up, but still more of a hang up in the UK than in lots of other countries. And it's yeah, almost all the education at schools and things still is around sex education. Still tends to be around don't get an don't get an STD, wear a condom, don't
Don't get
get somebody
pregnant
pregnant. Yeah, and it's all the
unless you want to,
it's all
of
the
course.
negative things. And I've got a 15-year-old son and an 18-year-old daughter. And I said to them, "Do they talk about pleasure? And
Oh my
do they talk
God.
about different things?" And I'm, oh my god, no, 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 no. It's all it's they sort of make it into this thing that
There's so much sensory pleasure that can be experienced that people don't ever get to experience on their own. They go
yeah.
get a massage, but they don't understand that getting flogged. There's all kinds of really exciting, titillating sensations
No, and
that go
I think
beyond.
that comes back to when we first go into puberty, though, both as girls and as boys, that the first thing we typically do is masturbate. At some point, we're going to masturbate, and but we tend to do it with obviously behind a closed door. We do it very hurriedly because, oh my god, imagine my mum bursts in or my dad bursts in or whatever. It's like, how embarrassing is this going to be? And I sort of talked to somebody as a sexual therapist, and she was saying, I think something like 40% of women have never held a mirror up to look at their vulva, or haven't spent 2 or 3 hours just exploring their own bodies, for goodness sake. Because we have this thing that it's this, they put these taboos behind it. But as soon as you put a taboo behind something, makes it more attractive. Like,
Yeah,
don't
it's
drink,
true. There's a lot
don't
of
drink till you're
women who.
21, or it's the more you try and put people off, the more they're going to experience things, but not in a good way. They're going to experience things potentially in a bad way
Mhm.
that is going to take a while to get over. And I think that's a real shame. Sorry, that was
I
just
know lots of
a
women
diatribe.
are only sexual with a partner. They're not sexual on their own, which
Yeah.
it's why we all first know what makes you happy, because how are you going to find happiness with someone else if you don't know what makes you
Absolutely.
happy? And then
Yeah.
how do you know if you're going to like something or not like something unless you try it a little bit? Again, in a safe, willing environment, that's very, very important. But there's
Mm.
just so much fun things out there. There's this whole sexual amusement park that I think is worth exploring.
Mm.
It's worth exploring for everybody at some point. Yeah.
Mm.
And it changes too,
It does. Yeah.
uh I used to really be heavy into BDSM, and I guess I got it out of my system at some point.
Mhm. It was
but
beaten out of you. Yeah.
but I love that I did do so much of it, because I know exactly what it feels like, how exciting it is to receive it, how exciting it is to give it. So there's just, again, like, so much knowledge and emotion and understanding behind it, knowing when to
Yeah.
give more, knowing when to give less, knowing how the person is feeling while they're getting it. So it's nice to get abandoned and it's nice to be in control. They're both beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there should be more. It sounds silly in a way, almost more places to go to learn really. Because the last thing you want to do is just is to be tied to a bed and somebody standing over you with a whip and they've got no idea what they're doing because that can bloody hurt. That can be dangerous. You want somewhere to go to sort of learn and learn a lot of things within sex are about the anticipation
Yeah,
and
that's why I
holding
think
somebody in desire. All
conventions
those things.
are good for that too, to where you can go and meet other people who are into the same kind of thing and experiences
Yeah.
in person again, like a safe environment. Or
Mm.
I used to go to a lot of dungeon parties. I don't know
Mhm.
how popular they are anymore, but that was great too, to where you would go somewhere that had all the equipment and you could try some stuff. uh, I used to love shooting for different company to find out what was my kink or not. But overall, really being a creator online is the coolest, best thing somebody can do if they are into it and want to try it, because safety is huge. You know, you are,
Yes.
yes, you are with people who you don't know, but they're not going to burst into your home. If you want them to leave, you just click off. They're not gonna harm you. Like it's wow. How lucky are those creators to be able to experience all of that whenever they
Mm.
want to by just clicking on. Yeah, it's amazing, and it's all free. It's all free. Like everything's provided.
It's pretty cool. What do you think the next? I mean, because things have changed so much in the last 5 years. So, what do you think the next 5 years looks like? And we've got obviously advances with AI, with immersive technology, with virtual reality, with remote control devices, with
Yeah,
replica people, sex bots, etc. What do you? That's a big question. I know. What do you think the next five
ooh,
years feels like?
I don't know what AI is going to bring, but I never thought it would affect my everyday life as much and I
Yeah.
would be using it as much. That's like we are living in like our generation is really at the front door of something huge and life-changing. Um for me, using the interactive toys online during shows, that was like a big step forward, to be
Mm.
able to control
Mhm.
remotely somebody's toy. I think that's really cool and fun, and again, safe. uh, I also love the fact that you can use voice and video so easily. It's smooth and like effortless. So
Mhm.
that's nice too, to be able to really have that connection with voice and video. It's hard to tell where it's going. I don't know. I don't think humans are really gonna change too much. I mean, I think we're always gonna like what we like. I do think that people are going out less social. They're meeting people
Yes.
more online, less in person. That makes us a little more isolated. So I think being online, meeting other people is positive because you still get the real interaction.
Yeah.
But physical, being one on one physically is completely different. And I don't think robots, sex dolls will ever change that. But for some people, just being to emotionally connect with somebody who gets them is enough too.
Yeah.
Because you can have, like you say, you can have a wife who you have certain things with, and then you can have your buddies that you get satisfaction to go watch a movie or play golf. So
Mhm.
it's not the same, but together it makes you happy.
Hmm. Yeah, I just think of it as golf with no clothes on. That's
Yeah, but
similar.
I do think that AI is going to be better at maybe connecting us with people who are alike, or just give us even more options on things we can do.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, if you think back, gosh, even 100 years, you were born potentially in a small town, and you might be born in a small town in Switzerland, and the odds are you probably wouldn't have left that town. You
Oh
couldn't
no,
fly, you wouldn't travel, whatever. So, and
no,
in that town, there were 300 people maybe, and the odds on finding somebody else that had your kink
I
or desire,
know,
and
and being
it's
judged
just
for it.
you would
Yeah,
never, yeah. You would either be claim to be a witch or a pervert or whatever. So it's
absolutely,
whereas
absolutely.
now, I know a lot of people have issues with social media and AI, and quite rightly so. But I do think it does have the ability to to connect you and I. You're in Las Vegas, I'm in London. We're talking
Yeah,
quite easily,
exactly. Look at
and
that.
it does. And 100 years ago, I would never have known you existed. But 10 years ago, we
No,
never would have
no,
met.
I would have,
So I do think it has.
taken the train to go to the next village, and that's it.
Yeah, it
And
has an
then
incredible
my
power.
my array of suitors would be whoever is around me. Uh,
Absolutely, absolutely. You would have a lot less shoes for sure. So my final question, and you've been
yeah.
very generous and
Oh, you're
really
welcome.
thoughtful with your
Anytime.
answers, is so when you walk out of your office and
Mhm.
you're not the content creator, the client manager, the advisor, the guy, whatever. And you sometimes I'm sure you hear some difficult things, and life can be quite stressful and can be quite difficult, whatever. How do you almost protect and nourish your own energy, your own mental and physical well-being? How do you sort of not switch off? Not saying you should switch off, but how do you re-energize yourself when you're not working?
I do things that make me happy. I like to garden. I like
Hmm.
anything outdoor. So I like to go for a hike. I like to garden. I like to go to the orchard and pick up vegetables and fruit. Very normal, boring stuff. Because I'm so creative all the time
Yeah,
that and just reconnecting with myself, my body, my mind. I think that's very good. For other people, it's very different. One thing I would like to talk about, it's
mm.
what to do financially.
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of people uh, make a lot of money and then blow it up on shoes and expensive stuff. My shoes are cheap. I think be smart, save up. Things go up and down. That is something really important too for, if you're lucky enough to make a lot of money in this business, save some of it so that you can have a beautiful future. Yeah, I think that's very, very
I
important.
think that's, yeah. And one of the first, I think one of the first people I talked to was a director called Vic Legina, who was fabulous, and he worked for Brazzers, and he lives in Vegas now. And he introduced me to somebody, and we talked. And she's on a different platform, and she's absolutely wonderful and has lots of fans and is making lots of money, whatever. When I sort of said, "Well, what's your plan? Do you have a strategy? Do you have an exit strategy? Do you have a?" And it was very much live day by day. I've got a great house, got lovely cars, I've got this, and I think, God, yeah, but in 10 years' time, when perhaps you've got less followers and less money coming in, it's yeah. I'm 100% where you are. I just wish people would have a plan, whether it's a financial goal, a personal goal, a career goal, whatever. I think because all of us, in whatever career you're in, you should have a plan. Whether I
You
want to
should
be the
have.
CEO of the company
Yeah.
or I want to retire when I'm 50 or whatever I want to do. But I do think, like I said, there is at the moment lots of people, thankfully, earning a very good living doing this.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't typically last forever, and there'll be a day when you don't want to do it anymore. So, have you got investments? It's all the boring stuff. Have you got investments? Have you got 401k? Have you got all that stuff? You need to do these things, and I
You need to do
100%.
those things. I believe in real estate because I think it's long-term investment. I
Yeah,
believe in high yield savings account. uh, just yeah, try to put some of your money on the side, and then you might get sick one month,
yeah,
or you might break, I don't know, a thumb, whatever it
yeah.
is, like, or you might just, yeah, want to go on a vacation and visit the world. You just don't blow it all. Try to save some of it, especially when it's really good. like,
Yes.
because it's not always very good in our life, and in everybody's life we all go through times where, I left a relationship. It was very hard so it yeah, those times you might not feel like working, or you just don't have time, or you have extra expenses. So yeah, if it's going well, save a little bit.
And I never thought I'd use these two words today, but the power of uh, compound interest. If you save $1,000 a month and put that into a high yield savings account and just keep saving and saving, saving, you look at it in 10 years' time and it's like, shit.
Oh,
I didn't even
yeah.
notice the money was going out. But suddenly it goes from here and it ramps up so quickly. And it's
Yeah.
I'll just get a simple tracker for the Dow, and it's
Oh, I
over the
wish,
long term, it's not
honestly,
going
I
to go
wish
down.
I have left California a while back, because the cost of living was way too high.
Yeah,
And I'm seeing now how much more money I can save every single month, just because everything's cheaper. And, you don't realize when you are in the middle of it, but now you don't have to do this in a big, expensive city. You don't have to be in the most expensive, you can really do it from anywhere.
yeah.
So, yeah, just be smart.
That's a perfect way to end. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it was wonderful
Yeah,
chatting
you've
with
been
you
charming. You really
anytime.
have.
And I'm here for anybody who wants or needs help.
Yeah,
I
I'll
really
put all your
enjoy
links
doing
into
it.
the notes and things, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of good stuff there. And like I say, it's all available for people to access. So why wouldn't you access expert help? I can't think of any reason not to. So no, thank you for what you're doing, and yeah,
You're
thank you for finding
welcome.
the time to talk.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I look forward to meeting more people.